Welcome to the Blade Banter channel. We're going to talk about specs, opinions, and discussions. This knife is one that goes without any type of introduction, but this is the Skyline from Kershaw. It's made in the U.S., a sub-company of KAI. Other brands include ZT knives, Shun Cutlery, KAI housewares. This is a knife that's been around for some time and actually is a staple for a lot of people's EDC purposes. A lot has changed still. So this knife has been around for some time, but they introduced the Skyline XL and also the Skyline fixed blade, which I believe is solely through Blade HQ for that model. So this is actually the first knife that actually I purchased when I actually bought knives. This is about a $40 knife. And at that time, it was like, this is going to be the only knife I'm going to buy. This is going to be the one that I need to research the most. So I spent time researching on YouTube, researching on discussion boards, researching on other review articles. And Skyline seemed to be the one for me. And this was going to be my only knife that I would ever purchase. And if anyone knows, that is not the case. I do own a few other knives. So this is now one that came across, even the scuff on the front of it was actually from playing around with a pull-through sharpener, which I do not recommend, those little diamond sharpeners. So this is one that I've had since the beginning. Granted, it hasn't been very long, and I'm still on the budget of probably a monthly coffee budget, if you would say that. So if you figure how much you're going to spend on coffee a month, that's probably about how much I'll spend on a knife. I'm not to the point of not making a car payment for a knife purchase. But that is the origin for this one. So now, this is a knife that you can actually get still lifetime sharpening through Kershaw and KAI. Send it back to them, and then they'll actually resharpen it, check on it. They actually did replace my clip that was getting a little worn at no cost. So shipping is all you have to pay for on that. And then if you do happen to use this as a pry bar or something else that you're not supposed to use a knife for, and you break it in half, you want to just cut it with a hacksaw, send it back to them and they'll replace it for $10 for the base model. And then you'll kind of go up from there depending on what type of blade you do have for that. So I do find that I like deep carry clips, but I don't know if that's really a purpose-based thing. So it doesn't actually have any more use for it. Because this, when I was carrying around today, is very easy to get out of your pocket, very easy to use, put it back in your pocket. But a lot of the purpose now for having that deep carry pocket clip seems to be more of a use of making other people feel better about having a knife. Now, so it's a little bit less conspicuous to actually have a knife with a deep carry pocket clip in your pocket, which might be the reason why some of it goes that way. But as far as use-wise, very useful, even though there's a lot sticking out of your pocket when you actually have this knife in your pocket in this orientation. So this is where you can do two ways. So it's going to be right-hand carry, and it's going to be tip up or tip down. But it is actually, it does show quite a bit when you do have it that way, but it does work well. So that's some of the things that are interesting for that. So this is, granted, adding on to the hundreds of thousands of views for this knife. Probably every single channel actually has a Kershaw Skyline review. That's probably the same for the rat number 2, rat number 1 type of deal. But as you see, I mean, this is a manual, and it is a flipper knife as well. So some people now consider these as thumb studs. Really, I got over it as far as not calling it a thumb stud because I can't use it as a thumb stud. So this is something that you could probably grab with 2 hands and maybe pull out this way, but even with that, that's pretty difficult. So this is actually more of an external blade stop. So it doesn't have an internal one. So it does actually be a blade stop right there. So that's really the purpose of that. So one of the new things that I have not seen before, other than probably about 4 years ago, there was a channel that was actually pushing down the flipper part of the knife onto their scale. And that was kind of getting that weight of how much pressure it would take to actually open a knife. Pardon me, still getting over a cold here. But I'm going to be using, again, the Lyman. So the Lyman trigger pull gauge. So this is one that I came across, seemed like a pretty interesting idea to be able to figure out the actual weight of the pull for a knife. So we're going to do 5 pulls for the knife itself, and then see kind of where we sit for the amount of weight or the pressure it takes to open this blade. So 2 pounds, 11 ounces on that one. We're going to do 5, so I'm going to average it out. So 210, so still pretty close. And then so for this gauge, you're actually able to do the average for pulls as well. So you could either do the 1 or the average. It doesn't tell you how many times you pulled. And I think I just miscounted. So I think I'm number 4 now. We'll go 1 more. And if I did miscount, I apologize, but even more accurate, the average will be. So that was a little bit low, but the average on that one. So average on this is going to be 2 pounds, 9.6 ounces for the flipper pull for this knife. So that's going to be pretty decent for it. These can be found for about $40 to $50 brand new. They retail for about $79.99. The base and the finish is going to be a stonewash finish. With the premium, you can actually get it in a Damascus steel a blade as well. So it does say that it's going to be 2.5 ounces for this blade. So it's extremely, extremely light, but we'll see what this turns out to be. 2.3, so no, 2.4. So actually 1 ounce less. We'll try that one more time. So 2.4, so actually 0.1 ounce less than the other one. So I mean that compares to the new Detent. So this has actually become a lot of the staple for many people. So that's 2.6, 2.7, so 2.6. So not very far off for that in comparison to these two knives. So that's actually really, really very good for the knife itself. So it does have a G10 scale for it. You can get just a mass array of aftermarket parts for this, from copper to carbon fiber scales, different pocket clips for this knife itself. There's just a whole lot of different things you can get for it. So again, going over to kind of the idea of the size of the knife itself. We'll pull this one up again. So this is for adult male, as far as where this is going to sit on your hand when you actually are using it. So if you do compare it to what size glove you use, there's going to be an easy verification for that, for adult size male and adult women's. As you see there. So one of the things that I wanted to talk about that was kind of up in the top of the screen for the video here. These are some folks, oh, man, these are some folks that have been helping me out as far as information, as far as some guidance within YouTube, some of the people that they use, as far as the information that they receive, and then definitely for Patty, I mean, I was very taken aback by that as far as being front and center for one of his videos that he was going over his collection. So that was the Ganzo collection So I was very surprised when I saw the name of my channel right up front. So I do appreciate him for the efforts on that. And again, that's kind of that pay it forward thing. So next channel's coming up afterwards. If I become a little bit more popular here as well, or if I just keep on putting out videos, I can help out those people that are just trying to get started out. So again, this is my Kershaw Skyline knife. So for this one, I kind of correlate this to kind of getting a new pair of boots. So most times they're not very comfortable when you first get them, and then over time and wear, it does improve. So this one does kind of the same thing with that, as I failed to flip it there, but most times it flips fairly well in both ways. And it is a manual action, so that makes it pretty nice there. So kind of just ending off, we're going to go over with some of the other knives that I do have. Didn't focus there. So that's that knife, and then Detent, as I talked about earlier. And then one of my favorites currently is going to be the CRKT, and that's the Caligo. And that knife from TJ Swartz, the mass drop did end just recently for the Perpetua. So if you did not get on that, that was only up to 1,000 knives for that numbered edition. You also get a signed print for that. So if you're in the mood, looking for those, sadly that did close down already. So we'll move the Detent a little bit and throw the little fraction in there, which is another one that I carry quite often. But for buy, borrow, or avoid, I would buy this knife for the Skyline. It's one that is definitely something good to start off on. It will do its job. It has a great warranty. Again, lifetime sharpening. If you just want to abuse it and send it in, they'll take care of you on that note. And then if you do have parts wear out, just email them and they'll send it to you. So they do not have a deep carry clip. Some of the other Kershaws that I do have, they do offer deep carry clips, and they'll send it to you at no cost, such as the fraction here. So this is a factory Kershaw clip that is deep carry. So the original one does not come in deep carry. But with that, I do appreciate your time. This is probably a little bit longer than some of the other videos I put out. So this is a little bit over 12 minutes. The others are about 8 or 9. But again, going through these top people. So Patty's Potato Peelers, the Knife Beater. So Jay's one of the ones that actually was the first ones that I had communication with before putting up my first video. And then Blue Collar Survival, which has a really cool lanyard that I just saw. Puts a bullet shell right in there, spent casing. So it actually adds quite a bit to that, that lanyard too. So do appreciate your time. Let me know what you think, and have a great day.